Hello and welcome to this session about how to install SAP Business One version for SAP HANA version 9.0. In this clip, I just want to go through all the steps necessary to do for the pre-check as well as the whole installation procedure. So first of all, we start with checking that you have the necessary libraries installed. So we go to the Start menu and then to the Just control tool. And in here we just type in software to go to the software management. And in here we need to check that following components are installed. First of all, Java needs to be installed. So we search for Java. So please check that you have installed Java IBM 1.6. So which we can see here in the top 3 items by the result set. So we have Java already installed. The next thing which is important is a library called libgcrypt. And you need to ensure that the 32-bit library has been installed. The next one is libio. Also here ensure that the 32-bit library is installed. The last one is PAM. And also here ensure that the 32-bit library of PAM is installed. The last prerequisite is that the Samba server is configured so that the Business One server can add the share folder. So if you go to the Samba configuration, see here in the startup option that the service starts during boot. And that's it mainly. So if this all has been checked, please also double check that you have SUSE Linux Enterprise 11 Service Pack 2 installed. Now we go to the terminal and start installing the HANA client, which is the first step. So we go, in my case, in this directory, where I've copied all the necessary files, all the packages. However, if these are not green, you can then change these rights with chmod -r for a recursive and then say 754 and then the directory name like B1A and press enter. And you can do this even one folder below for the whole, in this case, HANA folder. So chmod recursively for the right 754 and the whole HANA folder. All right, but this has also been done. So in here we will start with the clients. So we will start now with the 64-bit client. So I will just say SAP_HANA. Oops, I will need to change the keyboard layout, by the way. Something you can do very easily here in SUSE Linux. Just change the layout. So German should be the default. However, in my case, it's not. Well, hopefully this works now. HANA client and then press just tab. This will autofill the missing characters. And in here you see there are another folders, but we just go ahead with the HDB installation. So in Linux you don't run a program like in Windows by just typing the name of the application. Here you always need to put a full stop or a dot and the / in front, and then write HTTP inst for the installation process. We will accept this installation path by pressing return. And installation is done of the HANA client. As we are going to install revision 53, this is all about revision 53. So the client is revision 53, and also HANA database engine later will also be revision 53. Okay, so then I will go ahead and install the HANA client 32-bit for Linux. Here, the same concept. We need to, if you press the up arrow key, you can go back to former commands. I will just run again HTTP install. You can now see there is already a 64-bit client installed, and if you press now the number 1, it will install a new client based on 32-bit. And we will accept the suggested path by pressing return. You can also see the revision here, 53. All right. So now we have installed both HANA clients, and we will now go ahead with installing SAP HANA database. Whoops. In here, exactly, we do the same. And we will continue now again by pressing here and return for the default path. As the HANA system ID, we will choose now NDB, which is the standard system ID need to be chosen for Business One. Then normally you need to define an NDB admin password here. In this case, I already have this user in the system, so there's no need to set a password for NDB admin. The instance number is 00, also default, and we just accept all these default values by pressing just the return key. Here you need to check by the data and log volume that this is stored into your RAID system. So there's one folder, normally SAP data or mount or something, HANA mount, something similar like this, where you should put all your HANA related data. Here we will define a password for the system user. Confirm it. And we will say that HANA will be restarted after each reboot by confirming with a yes or a Y. And now HANA is installing. And I will now pause the recording to save some time for you. All right, so now the installation is done. And we can continue by installing SAP Business One software. So there is on the Business One installation package for Business One version for SAP HANA 9.0, there's a folder called packages_Linux, which I have just copied here, which we will install in a minute. Just as I see the other files here, there's one more thing we can install or should install for 9.0 on HANA, which is called the AFL. And this is needed to enable the predictive analytics later for the pervasive analytics. So we will just install these quickly as well. Oops. So also here Also here we will start the hdtv installation. System ID is ndb. The system password is the one we just entered in the step before. And to save some time, I will also now stop the video here. Alright, so now the HANA AFL has been installed. And we can now continue with the Business One software, which is within the packages_Linux folder. There we have the server tools and the Business One server. We start, as also with the former Business One versions, with the server tools first. In here we have several subfolders, so if you just press the Tab key a few times, you will just go always to the only available folder within the subfolder. And so we finally got to the last subfolder under VM. And in here we have a file install bin. And this is now the first installer which is leveraging a graphical UI interface. And we can do it in a very convenient way and just use the mouse and press next. And in this case, I will accept the standard folder /opt for the server tools. We'll say next. I will do a typical installation here. Important is that the port number under Linux is not anymore 30,000 like in Windows. Now in Linux it's 40,000. We will define a site user password. And I will use a self-signed certificate. And here I need to enter the port, which is 301.5. So 15 and the 3 in the beginning are set, and the 00 is the instance number, which is also set for Business One, so it's always 301.5. Here we have this, oops, now I have German keyboard, system user, and the password is the one we just entered in the HANA installation. And in this case, I even have not a domain user or a domain controller. So we'll just say next. But here you could specify a Windows domain controller, and then you could enable the single sign-on feature in Business 1.9.0 so that you map Business One users with Windows user together so that they can log in with a single sign-on. So no password is necessary after logging into Windows. Okay, so I click on install, and to save some time I may stop the video or wait a few more seconds. Alright, so now Business One server tools have been installed, so I just click done. And as the next step, I will now install the Business One server. We could already, before doing this, see that the server tools are working. So we could start, for example, the Firefox browser here in Linux. And go here to, for example, HTTPS, localhost, then the port 40,000 for the license server, and then control center to access the system landscape directory tool, which is also known from the Business 1.9.0 Windows version. So we need here to type in the B1 site user. Be careful, it must be like this. So case sensitive is a capital B, S, and U. And the password. And here we then later can see our Business One server. So the HANA server with the Business One database like CommonDB and so on installed. There are also other features, like here you can enable the single sign-on when you have registered a Windows domain. And here we have additional services like the License Control Center or the mailer. So we can import the license file here. I have one here and can already import it. All right, so I don't need this anymore. I can log off. And we continue now with the Business One server installation. And this is in a temp folder HANA. And here just the server. And in here again we can just press a few times the tab key to come to the relevant folder, to the last one. And in here we again start the installation bin. And we will get again a graphical user interface. And this is now pretty much the same like with the Windows installation. So I just clicked on next. And then we continue here, enter the license server, and now things have changed. So in this term we have HANA B1, and the license port here is 40,000. Site user password, okay. I will do a custom installation. So I will keep the suggested folder. HANA database instance address, so the host name, and here the system password. So I will not install the demo databases, and I also will skip the SAP add-ons, as I will do in a later step an upgrade and a migration. So first I will do a migration from an existing SQL database to HANA, and then I will do an upgrade to a higher Business One release. So this is the, let's say the base installation of patch level 0, the installer of SAP Business One version for SAP HANA 9.0. Say next. And I will just say install. And now again, I will stop the recording for you to save some time. All right, so after quite a while, we have installed the Business One server. And now we are finished with the Business One software installation. There's one more installation we need to do to conclude this session, and this is the installation of the Business One Analytics for the SAP Business One version for SAP HANA installation. And this is a special analytics package. It's different than the one you have with the Business One 9.0 analytics powered by SAP HANA. So that's something you need to know. We have different kinds of B1A or B1 Analytics. You can find them in the Business One packages folder of your Business One version for SAP HANA 9.0 installer. So if you download the installation, like patch level 0, you have a folder on the CD called Packages, and in there you have a subfolder B1 Analytics. And this folder B1 Analytics I have copied here to Linux, called B1A. And here again we can press the tab key and then we can see install data, VM. That's where we need to go. And here we have again install bin. And also for the B1 Analytics we will get a visual or user interface here. And we will continue with the typical installation. Now this is quite important. We need to choose here the GRE folder, the Java libraries folder, which we installed in the very beginning with the software management of SUSE Linux. So this can be found in the user folder and in here in the lib64. And in the lib64 folder, there's now another subfolder called JVM. And in the JVM folder, we have different kinds of Java libraries. We need the first one, the longest one, Java 160, IBM 160. And click here also in the GRE folder. Let's say open. And next, the license server address is the host name and as a port 40,000. The site username is B1 site user as default, and the password we have defined in the server tools installation. Here again we need to define HANA data source, so I will define here the host name followed by the port number and the password for the system user we have defined in the HANA database engine installation. And in the last step, we need to define a password for the admin control panel of the Business One Analytics. So we will define here a password and say next. And start the installation. All right, so this installation is now also finished. And if we now would go again to the Firefox, so we'll enter here again HTTPS localhost 8443, this is secure port, followed by enablement. And now we are on the login screen of the administration console for Business One Analytics powered by SAP HANA. So this is actually the analytics engine, which is also used by the product with the same name, SAP Business One Analytics powered by SAP HANA. However, this technology is also used for the 1DB solution, so where we just have the HANA database, which is also leveraging this analytical engine. So we will use here admin and the password we have defined in the last installation. And we can now see that we are authorized from the license server, that we have correctly configured the HANA database server, and that the overall health status is fine. And that concludes this session. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.